The story of Prahalada. The Bhakta Prahalada was born to Hiranyakaship, who was a demon king. He was a demon king due to curse. Once Hiranyakaship and his brother Hiranyaksha were the gatekeepers of Lord Vishnu in his abode Vaikunta. They were known as Jayan and Vijayan. One day, the sons of Lord Brahma visited Vaikunta and they wanted to have darshan of Lord Vishnu. And they came in the form of children, like kids. Jayan and Vijayan did not allow them to have darshan of Lord Vishnu. So, the sons of Brahma became very angry and they cursed Jayan and Vijayan to be born in Bhuloka. Jayan and Vijayan did not want to be away from Lord Vishnu. They appealed to Lord Vishnu and requested to forgive them. But Lord said, no, you were very indifferent to my devotees. You did not treat them with respect. So you have to be punished. But I can give you a choice. You can be born as devotees of me 7 times, or you can be born 3 times as my enemies and will be killed by me. These two preferred 3 times birth because they wanted to be back to Vaikunta very soon. So they didn't want to be in Bhuloka for a long time, for 7 births. So they agreed for the 3 births. So in the first birth, during Satya Yuga, they were born as Hiranyakaship and Hiranyaksha. And in the next birth, during Treta Yuga, they were born as Ravana and Kumbhakarna. During this Yuga, Rama was born. Then during Dwapara Yuga, they were born as Shishupala and Dantavakra when Lord Krishna was born. Hiranyakaship and Hiranyaksha they were born to Aditi and Kashyapa sage. In this picture you find 2 idols on both the sides. They are the Jayan and Vijayan. They are seen in all the Vishnu temples just before the Garbhagriha. Hiranyakshan was killed by Lord Vishnu because Hiranyaksha took Mother Earth, that is Bhuma Devi, and hid her in the deep ocean. So Vishnu took the wild boar avatar, that is Varaga avatar, and he killed Hiranyaksha and brought back Bhuma Devi, the goddess, the Mother Earth. So Hiranyakaship was very angry with Lord Vishnu and he wanted to take revenge on Lord Vishnu. And he was angry with Devas also, because Devas only took the help of Lord Vishnu to kill Hiranyaksha. So he was very angry with both Lord Vishnu and Devas. So to take revenge, he wanted to gain more power. To get power, he undertook very difficult tapas on Brahma. And Brahma was pleased with this very difficult tapas and he granted him a boon. That boon was, he would not be killed by weapon or any creature made by the god. He would not be killed in the day or night. He would not be killed on earth or in the sky. And he would not be killed inside and outside. So he got all this boons from Brahma and got energy of, that is, he got the power of animals, birds, Rakshasas, and he occupied Devendra's palace. So all the wealth of Devas were taken away by Hiranyakashipu, and he had control over 7 seas, 7 islands. So Devas approached Lord Vishnu to help them. Then Lord Vishnu said, whoever is against Vedas, Devas, Bhaktas and me, they will be destroyed. Prahalada was born to Hiranyakashipu as the 4th son. Did not have demonic virtues. He was a boy who had lots of bhakti towards Lord Narayana, that is Vishnu, and he was very caring and loving boy, very compassionate to others, and he was never for any material things, and he always remembered God, was chanting God's names, and he always felt God was around him, and he never felt happy nor sorrow. So this kind of boy was Prahaladan. So Prahaladan's father Hiranyakashipu used to ask him, what did you learn today? What did the Guru teach you? Then Prahalada used to say, we should not feel that I am, and we should not say everything is mine. Everything belongs to God. So when you say that only God is the owner of all things, and Hiranyakashipu gets angry and he started threatening Prahlada. Then one day he asked, what is the best lesson you learned? Then Prahlada said, I learned how to meditate on God, how to do service to God, and I learned slokas. I learned the attributes and glories of God and how to do karma. Hiranyakashipu became all the more angry and he started scolding the gurus. He called the gurus and asked, what did you all teach? The guru said, no, we didn't teach all this. He learnt by himself. Then when Prahlad was on his lap, hearing this answer, Hiranyakashipu pushed him down from his lap. Vishnu killed my brother, so I don't want you to worship Vishnu. Is Vishnu in your body? Because Prahlada kept on saying only Vishnu, Vishnu. So Hiranyakashipu got angry and he said, Lord Vishnu is my enemy who killed my brother, so I will kill him. So he tried all means to kill Prahlada. He made elephant stamp on him and he tried to throw him from cliff of the mountain, and he made poisonous snakes bite him, and he made the Rakshasas to trouble him. He poisoned him. He did not give him food. So all the trouble he went, Prahalada undergone, and nothing worked because he was chanting Lord Vishnu's Nama, so he was helped by him. Lord Vishnu protected him. So Hiranyakashipu was all the more angry, and he made his sister Holika to make Prahlada sit on her lap and made them sit in the fire, because Holika got the boon that fire would not destroy her, but fire destroyed her. And Prahlada was saved by God. Then finally, the sons of Sukracharya, who was the guru of Hiranyakashipu, were called and they were asked to teach Prahalad about how a king should be. Instead, Prahalad taught those kids. Prahalad told them about the glory of Lord Vishnu and made them chant the Harinama. Then when the children asked Prahalada, how did you know Narada Maharishi? Then Prahalada said, when my mother was pregnant, she was taken away by Indran. At that time, my father was not here, he was away for doing penance. And Narada Maharishi brought my mother to his ashram, and every day he used to say stories about Lord Vishnu, he used to say glories about Lord Vishnu. I was in my mother's home and listening to that. I became a devotee of Lord Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu this time became very happy because he saw all the children dancing and chanting Vishnu's Nama with Prahlada. So he started asking, where is your God? Is he here? Then he kicked one pillar and asked, is he here? Prahlada said, yes, he is everywhere. Then with a roaring noise, the pillar got broken and Lord Vishnu appeared in the form of Narasimha, lion with lion face and human body. And everybody assembled there. Devas, Brahma, Shiva, Mahalakshmi. On seeing this, everyone was scared to go near Lord Narasimha. Then Brahma called Prahalada to go near Lord Narasimha and calm him down. And Narasimha looked at Prahalada with very pleasant smile and said, my son, you had to bear sufferings for a long time. Forgive me. Then he asked, do you want anything? Prahlada said, no, I don't want anything. You please bless me. I should not have any desire in my mind and free my father from sins. Then Lord Narasimha said, yes, your father has become holy now and I won't kill your descendants. And Lord Narasimha made Prahlada sit on the throne and crowned him. And he said, be good and do your duties.
In Sanatana Dharma, storytelling was a very important part of teaching. Telling a story meant that the audiences were captivated while hearing the story. And also, it gave them the opportunity to contemplate on the story. And each one would have their perspective, a different angle to look at the story. It is important that we all contemplate, especially children. So we have a few questions in the rest of this video. And after every question, you could pause the video so that you can discuss with your child, or if it's you just while listening to this, then you can have a thought about the answer. So try and use this as a discussion point. Some of the questions are more to see whether people have been paying attention, so the listening skill, and some of them are a reflective sort of question. So what were the names of the gatekeepers or Dwarapalaka that were cursed? Jaya Vijayan. Who came looking for Lord Vishnu? The sons of Brahma. How many births did Jaya Vijayan opt for? They opted for 3 births, after which they would be back with the Lord in Vaikundam. The 3 births, unfortunately, would be ones where they would be against the Lord. Otherwise, they were given the option of taking 7 births where they will be devotees of the Lord's. But they wanted to get back sooner, so they opted for 3 births. Why was Hiranyakaship against Vishnu? So Hiranyakaship's brother, was killed by Lord Vishnu because Hiranyakshan took Bhuma Devi, that is Mother Earth, and hid her under the ocean. He went deep under an ocean, and to rescue Earth and Bhuma Devi, Lord Vishnu took the avatar of Varaham and had to destroy Hiranyakshan. So this is why Hiranyakaship was very angry and started seeing Vishnu as his enemy, because he destroyed his brother. So the next question is, instead of developing hatred towards Vishnu, what else could have Hiranyakaship done? And in our everyday life, this sort of happens. Sometimes people do things that is probably not very nice to us, and we tend to hold on to it and start hating them or really disliking them. Instead, what can we do? We could just change our thinking about them, not hate, let go of it, and maybe forgave them. In Hiranyakaship's case, Hiranyakaship could have made an effort to understand why Lord Vishnu had to do what he had to do. And then he might have been able to appreciate why that happened, because his deed was not good. And it was an extreme step that Lord Vishnu had to take as he had no choice. So he could have moved on from there instead of developing hatred towards Vishnu. So Hiranyakaship made so many attempts to kill Prahalada, like giving him poison or putting them in a room of snakes, stomping the elephant, throwing him from the cliff, whatnot. But still, none of that affected Prahalada. What do you think protected him? Exactly. What protected him was his bhakti and Lord Vishnu. His devotion towards Lord Vishnu protected him. Lord Vishnu protected him. So in the story, you heard about how the sons of Brahma cursed Jayavijayan. What do you think stops people like sages from cursing left, right, and center? Cursing is done out of anger. And anger is not an emotion that people who are of a higher level of consciousness, like greater knowledge, like the sages, they shouldn't really get angry. And when they get angry and curse, they lose some of the powers that they have obtained from the austerities that they would have performed or the meditations that they would have performed. So if you look closely, anger and cursing sort of behavior is draining no matter who you are. So if sages lose their power, you can imagine what happens to us when we get angry and we tell all sorts of things that we shouldn't really be saying. So next time when you get angry, have a think about it. There is something that you lose as well. You think that you're winning by expressing your anger, but really you're also losing. So it is best to control and manage our anger and words. What was Hiranyakaship's real enemy that eventually brought him to his end? Was it Vishnu or was it something else? The real enemy for Hiranyakaship was his ego. He thought he was better than every other creation in the world. He thought he was unconquerable because he had the boon. He thought he was invincible. It was the thinking of I, the ego, that brought his end. Instead, if he had surrendered to the Lord, it wouldn't have brought his end. So some of the people might ask you, how come Lord Vishnu went around killing so many people? So Hiranyakaship was also a creation of the Lord, yet he took his life. Why is that so? Is that fair? What do you think? Right, Hiranyakaship was indeed a creation of the Lord, but the Lord was not killing Hiranyakaship. He was trying to kill the bad qualities in Hiranyakaship. The I, the ego in Hiranyakaship is what was destroyed. The best part about the stories in Sanatana Dharma is how metaphorical it is, because all of us have that element of Hiranyakaship in us as well. And that is what we should look to overcome and develop more of Prahalada. So the Lord wasn't really destroying a being, the Lord was destroying the characters that are unwanted. God gave Hiranyakaship a chance to change his mind before finally destroying. What do you think about that? Right. So the God, with his compassion, with his love for his creations, he was willing to forgive Hiranyakaship. And that is something that we need to pay attention to. How forgiving are we? When people do little things to us, we hold a grudge and we think that we can't get past it, we cannot forgive them. Even if it's our own little brother or sister that took our toy away and we think it's such a big deal. But the God is filled with love and he is willing to forgive. So shouldn't we also be more forgiving? Give people a chance? Give ourselves a chance? So Prahalada was born in the demon clan. But despite his birth into the demon clan, he was not like a demon or any other demon that we've heard of. So what do you think about that? Now, just because Prahalada was born in the demon clan didn't mean that he will be like them. He had the choice, he had the free will, and he chose bhakti. Now, some of us might have had arguments with our parents when the parents asked us to do certain things, and we would say, "You don't do it, why should I do it?" Yeah, and it might be a good thing to do. So, for example, clean up after yourself, or tidy up the room once you've done playing, and so on. And then it's easy for us to say, "Hey, mom, you don't do it. Why should I do it?" But no, there's no need for that sort of a behavior, because we don't have to just accept what the parent does. In this case, Prahalada did not say, "Oh, Hiranyakaship is like this, I should also follow his path." Instead, he chose the path of righteousness. So, if you know this is the right thing to do, even if your parents may not be doing it, why not be the example? Why not set an example? And there's no age for who should learn from whom. So, your parents could learn from your good deeds and your good behavior. So, you can become the role model instead of arguing that you don't do it, why do you expect me to do it? Yeah, so it is not that just because you're born as something or born into a certain family, you need to have certain traits or you need to be like that. You have the free will and you can pursue what is the right thing. So that brings us to the end of this session. Did you enjoy it? If you liked it, do give us a thumbs up and share with your friends and family as well. Thank you.